Hello everyone, this is Dr. Patil here. So I'm going to take you through excretory system in human beings. So this little video will involve talking about the basic structural unit of the human kidneys, and in the end I'll talk about artificial kidney, that is hemodialysis. This is targeted to year 10 CBSE students. So I'm not going to go into much details of human excretory system, just whatever is there in your CBSE book about this. So I'm going to take you through that. So basically, what is excretion? So excretion is the process. It's the life process. It is essential life process. That means one cannot live without excretion. What does excretion involve? The body generates various metabolites, metabolic end products, and these metabolic end products are harmful to the body. They need to be removed from the body. So these waste products are removed from the body by a process called as excretion. So different organisms will have different ways of getting rid of these harmful waste products. Unicellular organisms will excrete by simple diffusion from inside to the outside. So this is a process of diffusion. But multicellular organisms will have more complex excretory system, such as human being, and they will have a specialist excretory, that is urinary system. Now let us talk about human excretory system. So excretory system of human beings consist of two kidneys and the system to transport the urine from kidneys to the outside of the body. So that involves, as you can see here, two kidneys. They are located on either side of the spine, that is backbone, and so on the both sides, and they are called as paraspinally located on both sides, so parallel to the spine. From kidneys, the urine is collected by ureters. So there is a pair of ureters, pair of kidneys, pair of ureters. The ureters transport urine from kidney to urinary bladder, and the bladder is a storage organ. It consists of muscles and it's a muscular organ. Okay, and when the bladder fills up, it goes beyond the capacity. Then at that time there is a urge to pass the urine, that is urge to micturate, urge to pee. And then when a suitable time is available, convenient time, place available, the human being can voluntarily pass the urine out of the body through urethra. So that's the urethra. Okay, so these are the basic anatomical structures of the human excretory system. So what does this human urinary system excretes? It excretes urea, uric acid. These are the nitrogenous waste products. It also excretes excess water, excess salts, as well as glucose. And there are various other toxins that are excreted by the kidney. Now I'm going to take you through the basic structure of this system. So have a look at this diagram. So this is a section of the kidney. It's cut, and so it is cut longitudinally, and you can see the structure of the kidney here. The branch, this is a renal artery, red color, entering the kidney and supplying the blood supply. And you can see the blood that is filtered from kidney is shown in a blue vessel. So that is a renal vein. and the urine that is collected, that is created, generated in the kidney, is passed down through the ureter. So that goes to the bladder. And here is a structure of a basic unit, functional unit of the kidney. It is called as nephron. So I'm going to talk more about this nephron. So these renal arteries on each side, one on each side, they divide and redivide to give branch to the basic structure of the kidney, that is nephron. And that is a branch of renal artery. You can see the blood entering here into this capsule like structure here. I'll take you through this in the next few minutes. So now if you look at the basic structure of the unit, functional unit of the kidney, that is nephron. So this is a network. Basically it is made up of two components. One is a blood vessel capillary network, that is also called as glomerulus. So what does it involve? It involves the branch of renal artery, a small artery that is called arteriole. It brings the blood to the capillary network, that is glomerulus. This is a wide artery, so the blood comes with high pressure, and then it is drained via efferent. So the one which brings blood to the glomerulus is called afferent. The artery that takes the blood away from glomerulus is called efferent arteriole, and the efferent arteriole is narrow. So the blood here is under pressure because it comes from wide artery and it has to pass through the narrow artery, so it is under pressure. That pressure pushes the excess water into this end, capsule like, cup like end of this big tubule. Okay, so this is a renal tubule, nephron, and the cup like structure here is called as Bowman's capsule. So the blood is filtered out under pressure, is called filtration, into the Bowman's capsule. Now the efferent arteriole passes round rest of these tubules. Okay, and there is also exchange between the blood into these arterioles, veins, and the part of the tubule it surrounds. So there is exchange, and this process at the Bowman's capsule is called filtration. When excess blood is filtered, there is a lot of water. It is about 180 liters of filtrate generated in both kidneys every day. But we don't pass that much water, that much urine. We only pass couple of liters. The average adult will pass 2 liters, around 2 liters of urine. So rest of the urine produced here is reabsorbed into the branches of this arteriole. The process is called reabsorption. So what is filtered at Bowman's capsule? Excess water, glucose, amino acid, salts, and water. And what is reabsorbed? So this whatever water is filtered, excess water is filtered, it is reabsorbed back into the blood vessels. Now this filtrate, this material that is filtered into the renal tubules, is passed through the proximal convoluted tubule, then through the distal convoluted tubule. So if you look at this vessel, so there is a Bowman's capsule, there is a proximal convoluted tubule, there is a distal convoluted tubule, and collecting duct, and a narrow tube, that is a loop, U-shaped loop, that connects the proximal convoluted tubule with distal convoluted tubule is called loop of Henle or Henle's loop. Okay, so the collecting duct receives this filtered filtered fluid from the blood vessels, and that filtered fluid is called as urine. Okay, so this diagram explains it in more details. It shows the blood vessels, how the renal arterioles, they branch afferent, efferent, then branching. They form a network around this proximal and distal convoluted tubule and loop of Henle, and then they collect the filtered blood, that is pure blood, that is after excretion of the nitrogenous waste, excess salt and water, that is a pure blood, goes as a renal venule, and then it goes, they all collect to form the renal vein, and renal vein then enters into the aorta. So collecting duct carries the urine. Now what happens after collecting duct? So I'll show you in the next slide, next page here, diagram. So now this is a very easy diagram to remember. The blood comes with the waste products, that is renal arteriole, renal artery divides into different branches, and then the blood which is filtered, that is pure blood, goes through the renal vein. Now here it shows the nephron. It has got a Bowman's capsule, the capillary network, that is glomerulus, then blood that comes from the arteriole is filtered. There is a filtration. Rest of the blood flows through the narrow arteriole. The filtrate that is secreted, filtered into the Bowman's capsule, passes through the chain of tubules, that is proximal convoluted, loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, and then into the collecting duct. So that is again self-explanatory. Now let us have a look at more details of this Bowman's capsule. Now this is important structure. Okay, you will learn about this in year 11, 12, and if some of you go to medicine, then you will be learning in more and more details. So now look at this diagram carefully. So there is an afferent arteriole, then there is a network of capillaries, and then narrow efferent arteriole. So this network is called Bowman's capsule. Now this expanded cup-like end of the nephron is the Bowman's capsule, and the network of the capillaries, I have already explained you, this is called glomerulus. Okay, so glomerulus, and this is Bowman's capsule, and then whatever blood is filtered into the cavity of the Bowman's capsule, it passes through the proximal convoluted tubule. So these are more details. So the Bowman's capsule has got two layers, parietal layer and visceral layer. So parietal is outside, visceral is inside. The visceral layer has got special types of cells, and that have got legs. Legs are also called as podo. So they are called podocytes. Okay, these are on the visceral layer, and the parietal layer is thin. So Bowman's capsule, glomerulus, and then space of the Bowman's capsule, that is capsular space, the neck, and then proximal convoluted tubule. So this whole structure is also called as Malpighian body. Okay, so you may be asked this in your entrance exams. This is not in the CBSE syllabus, but you should know that this whole structure is called Malpighian body, and it has got glomerulus, Bowman's capsule. Glomerulus has two layers, the inner visceral and outer parietal layer, and this whole structure is called Malpighian body. So now we have just seen how the blood is filtered and how it passes through a system of tubes, and then the collecting ducts collect the blood. Now collecting ducts, they all collect the blood and they pass it to the renal pelvis. This structure here is a hollow sac-like structure in the on the medial side of the kidneys. If you look here, this is the renal pelvis. That is the beginning of ureter. So this is the renal pelvis. If you look at the kidney cross section, then this is the renal pelvis. That's where the urine collects. From renal pelvis starts the ureter, and then ureter will carry it to the bladder. Bladder has got a muscular structure, and it has got a nervous system control. It's a voluntary control, so we can control we can control the passage of urine. When we feel bladder pressure, then we have an urge to pass the urine. out through the urethra, but that is voluntarily controlled. Okay. Now let us look at the final topic of this video, that is artificial kidney. So here I have taken the patient scenario. How does the patient look when they are undergoing hemodialysis procedure? So patient's blood is taken from their blood vessel. The blood goes to the machine. Okay, so look at these arrows. The machine has a pump. So these are the pumps, and they pump the blood to a system of tubes. And what are the tubes? They have a semi-permeable membrane. Then tubes are inserted, they float in the tank of dialyzer. And then once the dialysis process takes place, the blood is again pumped back to the patient into the blood vessel. So that's the basic structure. Now, why do we need to do this? So kidney is such an important organ. Kidneys perform the function of excreting the nitrogenous waste from the body. And in many conditions, the kidneys get injured. The injury can be because of the infection, or it can be because of the trauma, or because of the lack of blood flow to the kidneys, maybe because of heart failure, dehydration, or any other reason. So this will reduce the kidney activity, and it can lead to kidney failure, complete failure of the kidney function. So that will lead to accumulation of poisonous nitrogenous waste products in the body. It can cause acidosis, fluid overload, electrolyte imbalance, and rise in urea and creatinine in the body will eventually lead to death of the patient. So we have to help this patient with artificial kidney. How does it work? It works exactly on the same principle as the natural kidney. So the artificial kidney has number of, as I said, it has a system of tubes that is suspended in a tank of dialyzing fluid. So remember this sentence, it is a system of tubes suspended in a tank of dialyzing fluid. And what are the tubes? The tubes are made up of semi-permeable membrane lining. Okay. Now what happens is patient's blood is taken from patient's blood vessel through a system of pump. It is pushed through the tubes that have got a semi-permeable membrane, and this semi-permeable membrane allows diffusion between this blood and the dialyzing fluid that is there inside the tank. So there is a diffusion of urea, creatinine, excess electrolytes, and other toxins that they all diffuse into the dialyzing fluid, and then that fluid is removed out of the tank through a system of motor and pump. So that is how the system works. So we have seen in natural human kidney, the fluid enters into the renal tubule via filtration, and then there it is reabsorbed into the arteries and arterioles and venules. Here in artificial kidney, the blood doesn't filter, but it exchanges the nitrogenous waste products by diffusion, and there is no reabsorption here. Okay, it's only diffusion, one-way diffusion. So of the nitrogenous waste and toxic products, and that is removed through this system of dialyzing fluid. So this is about artificial kidney. So artificial kidney replaces the need for natural kidney. So nowadays, instead of, if the patient needs dialysis lifelong, then they get renal transplant. That is, the kidney of other human being is taken out from that donor person, and it is implanted, it is put in the body of the recipient, that is the patient who needs it, and then that kidney is used as a normal kidney. So it is called as renal transplant. And Artificial filtration hemodialysis has got different types, and they are used in day-to-day practice in medical practice. So to recap, we have two kidneys and a system from kidneys to the urethra that carries urine, and the urine has got nephrons. There are about 1 million nephrons in each kidney, that is 10 lakh nephrons in each kidney. Nephrons have Malpighian body that has got Bowman's capsule, that has got glomerulus. There is a filtration of the blood. 180 liter of the volume is filtered, but only couple of liters urine is produced, so rest of it is reabsorbed. Okay, and artificial kidney, that is hemodialysis, is used to replace the natural kidney in case if the both kidneys fail to function. So I hope this is useful for you. Share this with your friends as well, and I will post such important topics for your year 10 CBSE regularly. Take care. Bye bye.